If you think your Filipina only loves your wallet, stop right there. Because today I will show you the real signs that she's into you. The man and not the money. Hi guys, this is our Secrets and Rises of the Philippines, and for today's video, we will be diving deep into a topic that many of you still get wrong over and over again. This episode is really meant to remove the blindfold, put you back into reality, and maybe help you avoid heartbreak in a country where dating can be magical, but also very confusing if you don't know what genuine Filipino affection actually looks like. A lot of foreigners misunderstand coming to the Philippines and dating single Filipinas. Many of you still believe that if you lead with your wallet, every Filipina you meet will kneel down and beg for your attention. And honestly, if leading with your wallet is how you want to operate your circumstances, then of course, that is entirely your choice. But you should also understand that the very beginning of this journey determines the quality of the Filipina you attract. You attract what you project. If you enter the Philippine dating scene with money as your foundation, then the Philippine women who stay beside you when your wallet is still fat will also be the ones who will abandon you the moment it runs dry. That's how it works. And again, I'm not generalizing. I'm not saying that all Filipinas are like that, but bad apples definitely exist. And unfortunately, they spoil how foreigners see the good ones. The Filipinas who actually love sincerely, who are loyal, and who would never want to use someone for financial gain. That is why this video is for those who want to attract the Filipina who admires you for your character, your values, your treatment of her, not the money you bring to the table. It's for those who want a relationship built on genuine affection, stability, and a long-term commitment. And the question we need to answer today is this: how do you know if a Filipina is really into you and not into your wallet? One of the most obvious signs, a sign I shouldn't even have to explain, yet I need to, is the fact that a Filipina who genuinely likes you will never ask you for money. Foreign men get blinded by affection, by sweet words, by attention, and they ignore this very basic truth. A Filipino who truly wants you will be too embarrassed to ask you about your finances. She won't ask about your money in the bank, your assets, how much you earn, or how much you're willing to send her. A Filipina avoids these questions not because she doesn't care about your stability, but because she doesn't want you to feel like she only values you for something monetary. Filipinas know the stereotypes. They know how worldwide the narrative of Filipinas are scammers and gold diggers has become. And if she genuinely likes you, she is terrified of sounding like one. She fears losing you. You matter to her, so she wants to avoid anything that will make you question her integrity. But even with that said, you must still be cautious. Scammers and gold diggers in this modern age have evolved. They won't talk about money in the early stages because they have learned that foreign men are starting to catch on. What they do now is build your trust. They make you trust them deeply first, before the subtle emergencies begin. Start small. A small bill, a sudden problem, until the emergencies become bigger and more frequent. And because you care, because you feel responsible, and because distance makes you feel helpless, you think financial help is the only support you can offer. Before you know it, you've given her your entire life savings. This is why I always remind you that you cannot generalize Filipinas. Scammers exist. Yes, but so many Filipinas marry Filipinos who live in an isang kahig isang tuka setup or hand-to-mouth existence. Those relationships survive not because of money, but because of genuine connection, mutual effort, and sincere devotion. Another very real sign that a Filipina is genuinely into you is when she returns the favor. If you surprise her with gifts, she will find ways to give you something too. It doesn't have to be expensive or grand. It's the thought that counts, the effort. Give her something that costs $100. She'll give you something worth a few dollars, or maybe something handmade, something thoughtful, or something sentimental. She gives because she wants to give back, not because she feels obligated. This is deeply rooted in our culture of pasalubong, bringing home gifts to people we care about. Filipinos raised in this culture naturally reciprocate affection in thoughtful ways. When she is truly into you, she also won't allow her family to exploit you. This is a very big deal because we all know that Filipino families can be tight knit, sometimes too tight knit when it comes to financial support. Families of Filipinos often assume that foreign men are expected to provide for bills, for emergencies, for monthly needs. But guess what? Filipino men are not expected to do that. Even though the saying when you marry a Filipina, you also marry her entire family applies, Filipino husbands are not expected to financially support the entire clan. A Filipino with genuine intentions will protect you from this. She will tell her family to not ask anything from you. She will set boundaries. She will understand your limits and respect your decisions. I've seen real, healthy intercultural relationships where the Filipino herself says, "Do not support my family. Do not give them money." She does not let her family put her in a shameless situation. If a Filipina leaves you just because you said no to giving money to her, then you have dodged a massive bullet. Another realistic sign is when she never stops earning a living unless you personally ask her to. A lot of you have emailed me asking, "Heart, is it normal that my Filipina stopped working once we got together?" And my answer is always a no. Filipinas do not stop working for Filipino boyfriends. We do not get into relationships and suddenly expect to be fed and provided for. So if she quits her job out of nowhere and starts relying on you financially, especially in the early stage of a relationship, that is a red flag. A Filipina with good intentions feels ashamed being fully dependent on a man she barely knows yet. She wants to be your partner, not your burden. Another powerful sign of sincerity is when she refuses your money. Many foreigners think this is too good to be true. But no, it happens. It happens a lot. Genuine Filipinos refuse the money because they want to show that they are not after your finances. They want to prove that they are capable of supporting themselves. Some even refuse because they think you are testing them, and they don't want to fail that test by accepting money too early. Refusing money is their way of telling you, "I want you, not your wallet, not your offer, you." And that sentiment is not exaggerated. Many Filipinos work extremely hard. Some even juggle two jobs just to prove that they don't need a man's money to survive. They refuse because they want to stay on equal ground with you emotionally, not financially. From everything I've seen, both personally and through the stories shared with me over the years, these behaviors are not fantasies. These are real signs that a Filipina is genuinely into you, not because you can provide financially, but because you matter to her. From my observations and the realities of everyday life here in the Philippines, these are the signs that a Filipina is truly into you, not your wallet. Now I want to know what you think. Which sign do you agree with the most? And which one have you personally seen? Let me know by leaving a comment below. And by the way, if you're planning to visit the Philippines to meet your Filipino girlfriend, or you're visiting Cebu and still looking for a place to stay, then you can watch my video and see my recommendation right here. Once again, this is Heart Secrets and Horizons of the Philippines, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!